Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT Leagues. It's not a swash sticker, it's the Suzuki Swift Short Series for races 1 and 2. Race 1 being from the Redbull Ring Short, race 2 being from the Nurburgring Short, and joining us in the commentary, and we're not short of taters, is Ray. How are you, Ray?
I'm very well. I thought that was my new logo. Shit.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Also joining us in the commentary box is Connor. How are you, Connor?
I was betting, but I thought that Ray wasn't going to behave, so I don't know if I should stay or not.
Oh, well, Ray never behaves. He's got 6 kids. What do you expect? He's Scottish.
No, and if it was Ray's logo, I would expect it to be brown and not black and white.
Ah, that is true. Ray is the Brown Star King. Yeah. Isn't that right, Ray? Well, okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, we're having a three-way on the commentary this week. No idea how it's going to go, but we're going to give it a try. Now, for the Suzuki Swift Short Series, the Essses, the first grid is being set by reverse championship order from the last championship. So Bob gets pole position. Not the first time I've heard he's been on a pole. Twilight, he's going to start on the front row. And then who's that we got there, Ray?
That's Critical in third place, followed by Rich Blues in fourth. That's a bit up from 8th position that he's normally in. And then we've got Artpal, and then who we got, Conrad?
We've got Gary, who's sporting a very boring livery there. We've got Nelly in his usual blue colours. SGP in the classic RAC recovery truck.
Nice!
We've got Conrad in his Japanese style. Got Steve F1, and at the back we've got Damon Arcos. Obviously, he's the champion from the Aston Martin.
Ah, absolutely. So,
he doesn't like to show off that he's got 10 stars, does he?
Absolutely not. No, not at all. I am curious, though, if it is meant to be a pair of eyes on Conrad's car. And what we have got, though, is 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away, Rich goes, a big jump start. That's the slowest jump start I've ever seen. Everybody else gets away now, and Rich is plummeted to the bottom. Keto, Ray, Connor, waiting for each other to speed. You can't jump in, guys. Come on, go for it.
Yeah, very slow start by jump start by Rich.
Yeah.
Right back to the back there is who's that? Twilight got on a good position. He's now in first. Bob's fallen back.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Big time. We've got a few wide in the background. This is a very short circuit, only about 54 seconds a lap. So quite a few laps going here. We've got 20-minute race as well. Not laps, minutes, as Nelly gets a little bit wide. Do you reckon there's much risk, Connor, of running a bit wide in the final 2 corners here?
Well, that with the penalty system that they've got, obviously, with running off track, and it's a bit of a, with a front-wheel drive car, it's sort of hard to get the nose back in. A rear-wheel drive car is the opposite because you don't want to floor it too early, but it's a bit leery as the early stage of the race here.
Absolutely. And these cars, they do handle a bit like a boxer's nose and spread all over the place. Bob has gone from pole to being a bit of a cork in a bottle, just ahead of Gary, Steve F1 and Conrad. I tell you what, Twilight and Artpal and Critical running away up at the front here as we're about 15 billion wide in the background. And this is where the drivers are going to have to make sure they get it slowed down. Nelly's gone way deep though. Artpal's got to run on Twilight for the lead, Ray.
Yeah, coming out that double right-hand corner, yeah. Let's see how he gets into turn 1, because he wants to brake and not... it's a wee bit of tap there on Twilight, but he still kept going. But it's hard to get the power back down with these front-wheel drives while you're turning, or else you end up with understeer.
While you were talking about that, I don't know if you saw it, Connor, there was a big pile up on the pack cam.
Yeah, it's never not entertaining on the pack cam, but there seems to be a few figuring out of the order here, and a few drivers wanting to get through and a couple of drivers trying to sort of keep up.
That there is. You know what? Just, for the sake of confusion, I think I'm going to have to call Connor, the commentator, Gaza. Because you do sound a lot like Gaza. All you got to do is say, well, Cantona kicked someone in the neck, Rooney went with a granny, Giggsy shagged his brother's wife. I think I'd have been all right.
Pretty wide into turn one here at the back.
Yeah. Gaza's gone wide. Sorry, go on.
It's gone wide. He was a bit wide, wasn't he?
Oh, God! Oh, that was a two-footed challenge if I've ever seen one. He's feeling up Gary's ball bags now.
Yeah, I wonder if
get back in.
Go
sorry.
on.
I wonder if his team managers told him to go and have a couple of halves to score a goal.
Hey, I don't know. Okay.
He's got to get.
Go on, Con,
He's got to get back and give Raul Morty's fishing rod.
Oh, he's sending him a KFC. Oh. See, not many people might get that about Raul Moat, but I do know the story about Raul Moat. Oh dear. Okay, so up at the front.
Too soon?
Go on, yeah, well, it might be, yeah. It was 15 years ago, but yeah, it might be too soon. Twilight's got a penalty! He'd wish he was Gaza. He'd have stuck it away. Although Twilight's used to sticking something away recently. Hide the zucchini.
Yeah, what?
Oh, hide the zucchini. It's what they say in America for dipping your wick.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Steve F1's having a inside look at Bob and Conrad. Oh, what's happened here? Conrad's done two.
Aye.
Go.
That's a nice overtake. Got a bit of a challenge though with Bob. And Steve F1 having a look up the inside. Come on then, Connor, talk us through the action. That didn't mean to sound as
yeah, it's a bit hard being on the outside line in front wheel drive, isn't it? You got to try and get cut back in, because otherwise you get too eager on the throttle and it just sort of runs you out wide further. So try not to gain the penalty and try and get an overtake done there, as we've got a few cars through these bends trying to. Oh, it looks a bit tight in the pack there. Demonar hasn't really been the usual as in the Aston Martin Championship. It's nice to see the sort of reverse grid promoting a few drivers to the front, like Critical sitting there in third position.
Absolutely. I mean, something I know that me and Ray were talking about a little bit about last night was, hinted at it here.
Last night?
I think it was last night, yeah. While we were cuddling up.
Oh, well.
But we were talking about how the understeer in these cars is a big fact. So as we're approaching up to turn 2, it's not a difficult corner, but because turn 2 sweeps into turn 3 going the other way and turn 4 going, cars that find themselves, as Connor said, on the outside. We might see it here with the like that with Bob there. And this car understeering, putting the steering lock on and just going wider and wider. And it is going to be a feature of these cars. We might see it here with Nelly on the outside. Rich giving. Oh, that's the wrong way. Oh, bye. Oh, dear.
I think that was a move that Nelly couldn't shake off.
Was that, I want to move it. I want to move it.
Oh, who's on his back? Who's on his back windscreen?
Oh, it's Taylor. Oh,
Taylor Swift?
It's Tay-Tay, actually.
Tay-Tay, yeah.
If you're a fan, it's Tay-Tay.
If you're The Rock, it's Tay-Tay.
Well, actually, if you're a fan, it's close your eyes and imagine. Anyway, okay, enough of that. I told you, a couple of beers in, this is going to get messy. Connor's probably thinking, I thought we was going to be having a serious bloody commentary here, or was SGP goes wide? Come on then, Connor, take us through some action. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy my drink for a minute, I reckon. I'm going to do a crofty and take a break.
Oh, well, that must be nice. Yeah, it's a bit sort of. Obviously, I wasn't involved in the Aston Martin Championship last season, but with the commentary. But this season, it's a lot different having sprint championships with you know, the reverse grids and everything, and the different cars and the lack of power, but with it being a short track throughout the calendar, it's going to promote some tight racing, and it looks like if this race is to go by, then it's going to be difficult for the guys that are usually running at the front to come through.
Yeah, and if you look at Patcam right now, you can see one of the ones that was fast and licensed to spin season. Conrad, he's now on the back of Critical, who seems to be doing pretty well now. That I think this is his first league race since he had his wheel updated. So we'll see how he gets on with Conrad chasing him down here, and it's bringing the pack closer to the front runners as well. So let's see how that's played. I was waiting for something to come. Oh, Connors went wide. That might be a penalty.
I think he's
it's with critical running there in third. I wonder if it's sort of with all these new drivers, Dave, like Nelly and Critical, for these guys to be running in that sort of position, for them to learn maybe being in that position and not let the guys coming through affect them, or...
Well, it's a good point, because the likes of, I mean, we've got D-Bernard, Nelly and SGP side by side. All of us at some point have raced in the pack. Not everybody has had racers up at the front. We talked a little bit about it last week. Like Jason, if Jason's at the front of a race now, he's a threat. A bit like Conrad. If he's at the front now, he's a threat. So for the likes of Art Pal, Twilight, Critical, Nelly, if they get the opportunity to be up at the front, it is a great learning opportunity, and having that pressure of, okay, I've got a bit of a gap. Can I put in the consistent lap times that you don't necessarily get to have in the pack? And that reverse grid, as you mentioned, is going to be a brilliant part of it. Now, for the race 3 and 4, I think race 3, the grid, will be set in the championship order, but race 4 will be a reverse grid from the race 3 result. So it is a great opportunity for things to be available for drivers to learn racing in different positions. So, I mean, you look at Art Pal at the moment, he's actually breaking away.
Ooh,
oh, Richard
right
Blues!
sideways.
Yeah, Gary got a bit wide there as well. But yeah, so for the likes of Art Pal, actually Conrad has got past Twilight. I don't think we saw that, did we?
No.
Oh,
So
Critical!
this.
Oh!
What happened this? DFF1 just
There's a bit of an over
Critical?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I just got the end of it. I was grabbing my tank up.
You're actually drinking from a tank can.
Yeah, I drink out of it.
I thought it was straight out of the can. What about you, Colin? What's your drink of choice?
Ooh, are we talking non-alcoholic or alcoholic?
No, alcoholic. Come on.
I'm a cider drinker.
Oh my respect for you has just gone out the window. This game very physical down into the penultimate. I'm just wondering, a little bit, guys, whether the pack on a short circuit like this, or as we see, I'm just wondering if it's perhaps too short a track and a little too aggressive from some of the drivers back there, because you don't want to be 4 wide into turn 1 at the RB ring.
No, you do.
No, you do. Oh, Critical was very tight on that corner coming into it, so I don't know if you said a moment on the... Why is it? Oh, it's Gary.
Ooh.
Gary and Critical have got the same kind of colours. That put me off there.
I think they've both got...
What's up, pal?
Did Critical not run across the grass? Sort of there. Critical sort of turned in too early and sort of cut the whole corner off.
Oh, you know what it might be? I think I've seen a couple of people do it in practice at turn 2, where it's like a little bit too much on the brakes and downshift too soon, or even might actually be a dab of the handbrake. But also, in these cars, with them being front wheel drive, if you do go off the track, a bit like Rich has done here, you can clean up the front tyres, but the rears don't get clean because there's no energy going through them. So you can get to a corner like this, and all of a sudden the rear end steps out on you. So it's something that the drivers are going to have to be aware of. But yeah, I do know a couple of drivers struggled a little bit, always with 3 wide through the Essses, through turn 2. yeah, with the rear end just popping around, a bit like Gary had in the penultimate corner, although I don't know if Gary was assisted or not. Okay, up at the front, we've still got Art Pal running away, although Conrad closing in on him. Twilight, Demon R third and fourth. Then we've got Steve F1, and then we've got this battle. Rich Blues a little bit too wide there. But yeah, so, I mean, here's a question for you, Connor. In a race like this, do you think any of the drivers might be thinking, well, you know what, I'm in the pack here, I might just drop to the back and have pole position for the next race?
I think for someone like Critical who was doing okay the first sort of 8 minutes, and then as you know people have come through, he sort of bundled down the order a bit. But if I was in Critical's position, I'd certainly be thinking that and thinking, right, the first race I've learned that I could run top 3 and I was there, but maybe I was a bit too eager in watching me mirrors and being a bit too cautious on who's coming through. And I know for this next race that I've got, you know, if I keep it consistent, I can get, you know, a decent result. But I don't know what you think, Ray, but if I was Critical, I'd be dropping back.
Just as he asked you that question, I was trying to figure back if we did rule against like just dropping all the way back, but no, that was we put the place thing in so everybody would keep fighting to place. But we'll see how this.
Oh, it was tied into that corner.
Turns out if people start slowing down towards the end to get last place.
Well, I mean, I suppose in a way it's kind of swings and roundabouts. If you slow down and drop to the back, you're going to lose a bundle of points. Now, you'd be gambling on making those points up in the next race, but if you're not that keen at the next track, you may lose out twice. Okay, Conrad has caught up to the back of Art Pal, looking at the lap times, mainly in the 53s. I think Art Pal has been doing fairly consistent 54.2s, but Conrad, is he looking to make him 4 wins?
Is that going to be a penalty?
Come on, Gaza, is it a penalty? Is it not a penalty?
I don't know if Art Pal ran wide there.
It's not came up
That'd
yet,
be
so
interesting to see.
I think he's
it won't be a bit.
right.
Well, it might.
Oh,
well, we'll see here, because we're on Conrad, so we don't get to see Art Pal's penalty, do we?
Oh, that's true. So a penalty for Art Pal.
He's dropped back.
No, it's not a penalty.
No, he's all right on this occasion. Okay, Twilight's still got Demon R right behind him. I mean, interestingly.
Oh, Jesus!
Big hit.
The synchronisation.
Aye, it was almost like Art Pal and Nelly from the last race in the Aston Martin spinning around. But yeah, I mean, I was going to say, it's interesting how, like, from third down, it's very, very close. There doesn't seem to be that separation at about 5th place, does there? So I don't know whether it's like Twilight might be struggling a little bit for pace here or what, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Conrad's definitely not struggling for pace. He's opening up a gap on Art Pal, so he's going to have to be careful about Twilight, who's actually opening up a gap on Demon R, who's got Steve F1 sniffing his exhaust fumes.
Yeah, I think he was saying the synchronisation of me and you shouting at the same time.
I thought it was on about spinning. So, Connor, was you on about the sound or the spins?
No, I was on about the spinning. Ray just thinks everything's about him.
Well, that's
yeah, I do. The Scottish mate.
It's not all about you.
You've had your kids. Leave everybody else to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, give someone.
Not my fault they can't keep up.
You don't have a problem keeping up, do you? Oh, Jesus. Okay, so we've got what have we got? 3 minutes, 12 seconds left in this race. Rich Blues and SGP battling with Nelly right there. I mean,
Demon R get past Steve F1. No, it's Steve F1 was chasing Demon R. Yeah, so Demon R's on the back of Twilight. Oh, he's looking. He's just showing his.
Oh, Twilight's wide. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that scared Twilight a wee bit there.
Okay, Demon R.
Oh, is he wide though? I don't know how far you can take the cars on that curb.
I've just seen on the pack cam someone was very, very wide. I don't think any. We've dropped down to 10 drivers. I think we've got a driver who's going to be getting a DNF.
Oh, critical.
Oh dear, oh Demon R going defensive on Twilight. It's taking a while to get ahead. Oh, Steve F was. I thought Steve F was going straight on.
Was that a technical issue DNF or was that a
frustration
finished?
DNF?
Yeah, I rage quit.
This is what I was talking about, Dave. Surely, if you're having a bad race, you are critical. Just drop to the back and then you've got pole. But
yeah,
now he's going to be starting from the back anyway because he's DNF'd.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Rich and Bob side by side, SGP going with a bit of a switchback. Yeah, I mean it's a very
bit of a back end slide.
Rich likes them.
No, I'm just saying SGP had a bit of a swapping lines.
All three wide.
Go on.
Okay, it does look like the drivers are driving a little bit more sensible now compared to the opening sort of 10 minutes of the race in the pack. Oh, Demon R's got a penalty. Okay, Conrad's opened that gap up quite a lot now over Artpal. Artpal may be safe. I think we're going to have this lap and one more maybe. Let's see, Demon R, is he going to serve his penalty now? No, he's not. He's going to serve it next lap.
Yeah, as long as Twilight can keep on the back of him, he should be able to get alongside him maybe as we go 3 wide. Jesus.
What was I saying about being more sensible?
Yeah, you commentated, cursed it. Next into turn 2, we're going to have 4 wide at this rate.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, I think for 90% of the drivers here, it is going to be last lap. Bob has got a penalty. Demon R's still got his penalty to serve, let's not forget. Twilight. Oh, there's Nelly. Nelly's just done what I was on about earlier, where the back end just stepped out and ended up sort of nose in towards the barrier. Demon R's actually got a 1 second penalty now. I think Artpal's had a penalty as well. That gap's come down. Demon R going defensive. Here comes Steve F1.
Is he going round outside? He's going to have to.
This might be the end. This might be the end. There's only 6 seconds to go. This might be for position. Steve F1 gets through. Demon R's there. SGP trying to pinch it. It's so close, and it was the end. Yeah.
Oh, it's train.
Why are we on time and not laps, huh?
Wow.
I hate this time thing.
Well, who would have thought it'd be 23 laps? Well, Conrad, he's guaranteed a second place finish, and unless he disconnects. Artpal guaranteed a second place finish unless he disconnects. But yeah, I mean, to touch on what you mentioned in there, Connor, yeah, if he's DNF'd out of frustration because the race isn't going his way, yeah, keep going and start from pole on the next race and see if you can do what the likes of Artpal and Twilight did early on here and break away. Okay, Conrad going to take the checkered flag. That's 4 wins in a row in the DGT League. Could it be an early championship contender? Artpal led for a lot of the race, going to take second place. And there we have confirmation of the grid. So what do you make of that race, guys?
I like Conrad go first.
Yeah, interesting because, like I say, critical shocked me, to be honest, because I hope it's not out of frustration and he does realise that he would have been pole, but if it's a technical issue then fair enough. But like I say, for the guys that sort of came through, we saw Twilight running second, I believe. Critical was third, Artpal was first, but then you look at the race order and you've still ended up with Steve F1 in third, Demon R in fourth, and SGP in fifth, and there's only really Artpal that's hung on out of those drivers that were leading. So it's nice to see a couple of guys getting a bit more of a chance at the front that probably deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, Ray, where if you're up at the front and you can be consistent, I think you've got a chance, haven't you?
Yes, Gary's on pole and Nelly's on second and Rich on third. Yeah, he took too long talking and we'll have to get into this. Here we go, and Bob on fourth. Who's next?
Twilight, fifth place. SGP sitting there in his bright orange car. He'd tell his daughter it's yellow. Then we've got Demon R. Who have we got next then, Connor?
Steve F1, followed by Arpal, who had a good result, Conrad, and then there we are, critical at the back when he could have been leading the grid in the first corner.
Yeah, I mean, it is should quickly just mention, I mean, if a driver does DNF or misses the first race and there for the second one, they will start at the back. Okay, here we go then. 4 lights, 5 lights. Here we go for Gary at the Nurburgring. Can he lead into turn 1? He's going to cover off Nelly straight away. Who does he think he is? Max Verstappen.
Yeah, he's going to have that tight line. Oh, Rich, there's a car there.
I thought Steve F1 was going to come flying up the inside then, but he managed to get it slowed down. Now, we talked a bit about understeer, Connor, in the first race. I think we're going to see a bit of it through turns 2 and 3 and 4 here, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not a nice corner, and also the next corner coming up, where you turn left and then it's a quick right hand. It might have cars running wide, as we see if them going through. Oh, sideways there.
Yeah, and this is where we have to hope as well that everybody realises that Rich Blues is leading the race. Come on, Rich, show us what you can offer.
Not for long.
Sorry, Rich. Show us what you can do. It's on the grass. That's more like a description for Bob, isn't it? Anyway.
That was as quick as his time with his wife.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say it. Okay.
So we can as quick as his Birmingham accent can get a sentence out.
Oh.
So Steve F1 in first place, followed by Bob. Now we've got SGP on the back. Now, I know SGP's quick here because me and him had
not anymore!
Big battle through here as we see Tate coming up. He's rear.
Yeah, I think Gary got a little bit too late into the final corner there. Go on, come.
I don't think Gary's been told that this is actually a Gold Star Championship.
Oh, hey, that's a good point. It is a Gold Star Championship, and drivers are supposed to be driving properly, as it's a little bit bumpy and grindy on the pack cam around twilight. Bob's coming under pressure from SGP. Nelly trying to close in. I must admit, I don't mind the Nurburgring tracks, but I'm definitely not a fan of turn 3 at the Nurburgring. It invites people to go up the inside as SGP goes up the inside. A nice overtake. Bob making it difficult for him on the exit. Well, it's like that there. That's not a late move or a dive bomb. It's a legit attempt at an overtake. But I do tend to think that at turn 3, the way the track is, it just invites people to go, oh, there's a big space over there at the apex. And then by the time they get there, that space ain't there no more.
Yeah, and it turn 3. Mostly for sectors like that, people take different lines, and if nobody's on the tight inside lines of the apex, then somebody is going to throw one down there. There's no doubt about it. As we see Bob get, I think this is for precision that Tate's got him.
Yeah, Nelly making the move there. I'm just wondering, Connor, if it's a bit like Brazil, where if you don't cover the inside, you will find a car there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of another track that's the same. It's sort of like the first corner at Brands Hatch as well, where you try and open the corner up and the car might think, oh, I'm late on the brakes here and I can get through, when they normally hit the curb too hard and then end up in the gravel on the other side and you end up collected as well. But like you say, it's a corner where you need to run wide. Oh, there we have a few taps from Twilight there, just enjoying himself.
Well, interesting. I mean, that there, I think, was a perfect example of exactly what I was on about. D&R went for the move up the inside, and D&R has actually waited for Twilight because he did put him sideways and compromised him. So it was kind of happening as we were looking at it. The cars were on the right-hand side, opening up the corner, and that big space is in. It's also, I mean, the right-hander here kind of does it as well, but you have to be a lot closer to really go for it. But it will be interesting. I mean, I think it'll be interesting over the course of this championship as well to see whether with these cars you can be aggressive under braking or not. Because let's not forget, if you're aggressive on the brakes, Con.
Oh, back cam, Jesus! Gary missed his braking. He's got to let Twilight back through.
Okay, I wasn't watching that, but I will agree to agree. But yeah, so what I was sort of getting at, Con, is if you're aggressive on the braking here, you've got to use the front tyres to brake, steer and accelerate. It can't do all three, can it?
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying. If a car in front has gone wide in a front-wheel drive car to get the run out, surely in a front-wheel drive car you'd want to hug the inside anyway.
Well, over the course of this championship, we'll find out. Okay, so there's turn 3. Let's see. Is anybody up there? I mean, these two are side by side anyway, so there's nothing. That's absolutely fine. Gary's gone for a big move up the inside of Rich, although I think Rich is pulled over, so I don't know whether he may have tagged someone. I don't know if you've spotted that at all. Res, come on.
Oh, Bob's defending.
I didn't spot it. As we see, Conrad ahead of Bob now. Also, one of the corners is infield, Blue Moon, infield A.
Yeah.
The first corner.
Absolutely.
That is one of the biggest ones that shows it.
Yeah, definitely. That high wide line coming in, or that in tight line. Okay, Demon R got a bit of a run on Critical here. Excuse me, Bob's still running in 4th at the moment. Demon R giving Critical a bit of a bump draft. Still bump drafting him through the corners. That's one way of knowing you can go a bit faster through a corner when you're being bump drafted through the 8 boxes.
Oh, Riddle goes attacking Bob now. So Damon has dropped back from that bump draft. He must have gave him that 2-second boost.
Well, on the pack cam, I think we just had a look at Steve F1 and SGP up at the front. Now we've got Critical. Interesting, not going for the move here. I think Art Powell may... Oh, he is going for the move. Sorry. It didn't look like he was going to go for it, but Bob's got that inside line now, Critical. I think if... sorry, Connor, if you're
He's
Critical...
going for a switchback.
I was going to say, you go for the switchback to be on the inside for this corner here. Try not to understand. Bob's going to go for a switchback.
He's now got he's 2 side by side.
That's a great bit of racing. It's compromised them both, though. Here comes Demon R. Can he get a move done on the 2 of them? No, just the 1 on Critical. Oh, but he's gone deep. And Critical goes for the switchback. Oh, you motherfucker. Oh, you're a cunt. You're a bastard, Ray. And what makes it worse is, if you didn't know, I've messaged you on Facebook saying do that part way through one of the races. And it still made me fucking jump, you cunt.
I don't know if Conrad held it. Or he's run into the door.
He's got to answer the door. The Chinese in here.
I don't know, I think we've lost him.
It's still there, Connor.
I am, yeah.
Oh,
Did you go to the door?
I didn't know.
Maybe the audio. Did you hear the knocking?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay. You're obviously clearly not as gullible as I am.
I thought it was one of you. I thought it was a knock joke coming.
Oh no! It's Ray's way of pranking me. Right, okay. Talk us through what's going off on the street.
Well, Demon R's side by side with Critical now. Critical sort of stuck with them at the minute. He's doing a bit better in this race as long as he sticks with it and doesn't quit. But he seems to be holding his own.
And he does.
Pal's up behind him now.
Yeah, and also in practice, Critical said that he doesn't like this track because it's a short version. I put him out of sync for this track, so he's doing pretty well, holding his own here at the minute. As we see Demon R on the back of Bob, is he going to fire into the inside? Oh yes, he is. Is he going to? Who's going to be later on the brakes? Is they're going to go side by side through it. No, I think Bob's fighting back on the exit. What a fight! Demon R's coming for another switchback. No, he's fought of it. He's trying to open up that corner, as Conrad says.
Open that corner.
Jesus fucking
corner, over to you, corner.
I'll let you get
See,
on.
if you weren't hard to understand before.
Yeah, we're fucked. Good luck with subtitles, folks. I tell you what, Bob's putting up a right good fight here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not a massive fan of the first corner in Nurburgring as well.
I thought he was going to say Bob.
No. No, I'm just not a fan of the first corner because it's the way it tightens up. It's just if you're going to do side by side, it sort of pinches on the exit. So things like this in the pack cam, we always have 3 or 4 going into that corner. It sort of pinches on the exit. And luckily, obviously these are front wheel drive, but if it's rear wheel drive and you get a tap on that rear quarter, we might have a couple of cars going round.
That's a good point, because turn 1 is one of those corners, especially with the rear wheel drives, where quite often you will see cars spinning around. Oh, Bob got a bit wide. That opened up the door for Demon R, and here comes Nelly as well. There's a little bit of contact. And it's interesting, there's a little bit of contact there, but I mean, some people would call it racing contact, and sometimes contact does happen, and there's nothing really in it. What's key in those kind of situations is that both drivers are doing everything they can to give each other room. And what it's resulted in here is a full 1-lap battle. Demon R and Bob fighting away. Bob has really done the Welsh people proud there.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't see the sheep in the next field.
Well, the thing is, I was actually thinking maybe we need to find out who the fastest car is on the grid, stick some furry bits on the side and give Bob some Velcro gloves, and then he might have a chance of winning. But I won't say that because it might be offensive. Oh, forward!
Gary!
Oh, Gary! He might get reset with that one. Oh, critical! I think Gary did get smoking. I think critical may have got tagged from behind.
Oh, Rich is sideways as well.
Yeah.
And somebody spilled some oil down there.
Maybe.
That has changed this whole pack now. So Nelly holding up the front of the pack. He's got Artpal behind him, but Critical going for the tighter line through the double right-hander here. Artpal trying to cover him off. I think Twilight's getting in there as well.
Yeah, he is. Gary closing back up with Rich and Bob. I think Rich got a bit sideways at the first corner, and the Critical might have been trying to avoid him and got tagged from behind, and ended up really spinning Rich around. Not a lot Critical could do. Twilight's got a run on Artpal. It's an interesting. Artpal choosing not to defend, and maybe that's so that he could have the inside line here. Leaving plenty of space on the exit. Here comes Critical though, makes the move on Twilight. So Twilight goes from trying to make a move to losing, and Critical makes another move. Oh, but does he?
Oh no!
I thought a good run there from Artpal. Go on, Ray.
No, on you go. Sorry.
I just when you were sort of when we were watching the races, just noticed one thing from Critical is a couple of corners he tries to brake too late and he puts a lot of it's a mess there to park. Got an underground car park going on there.
Yeah, so yeah.
But just with Critical, he seems to be putting a lot of steering lock on just to try and get the car pulled in, and I don't think we've. What's the tyre wear in this championship? It's not much, is it?
It's
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, well, there is something, but it's not really relevant. So I think Rich may just punctured Twilight off into the distance. Yeah, I mean, the tyre wear there is a bit. But it's one of those things as well. I know Critical was asking a few days ago about if there is no tyre wear, like actually zero tyre wear, do you still have... are you still affected by dirty tyres and hot tyres and cold tyres? And the answer is yes, very much so. But I do know that Critical, as Ray said, doesn't really like this track, and it's one of those as well where I think sometimes, I see so many people try and do it where they try and go faster by braking a bit later, and it very, very rarely works.
Well, looks like Bob's been boxed in here, so he's got Tate Tate's ass to look at the moment.
Yeah. I wonder how many people.
As they go free wide. See, going that tight into that corner is very dangerous, because if you turn too much and just go over that apex, you're going to get reset at turn 1. So I would be maybe backing off, try to get a run into turn 2, 3, maybe 4.
Yeah, it's like what Connor was saying, wasn't it? Where if you get number 2 or 3 cars in there, do you really want to be on? And it's not just that. If you take that inside tight line,
he's gone!
Bye, Nelly. Oh, now I think he was definitely tagged by the front of Gary's car. Now, I think Bob may have tagged. Yes, I think Bob may have hit Gary into Nelly, and Bob is waiting on that one. And okay,
I bet you that's the biggest smash Tate's had.
Well, I bet you it ain't. Have you seen her boyfriend? He's like 6'8", built like a tank. He'll be like one of those guys you see on those really cool pornos that picks the woman up and flips her upside down while it's stood there. I don't know what you're on about, folks. Don't worry.
I don't think they'll be able to shake that off.
Gary Twilight a wee bit late on the brakes. Nearly took the back of Twilight off there as we come to the... Oh, was it critical? Sorry.
Okay, I'm a little bit concerned here. Gary's looking like he wants to go up the inside. Twilight's all over the place.
What was that? What happened to Twilight?
Well, maybe he wanted a piece of Tay-Tay. Well, I genuinely thought we were going to be seeing Gary attempting a slightly risky over.
SGP nearly hit the back of Steve F1 in the pit car. Jesus.
Okay.
That was close.
So the leaders have closed right up then. And actually, you know what? On the pack, I can see that Conrad's not too far away from them, but we've only got a bit over a minute to go. I think, or is that 16:53 we're on now? Is that?
I've got 3 minutes.
Sorry, my eyes are fading. But yeah, okay. So critical. Having a look at the back of Nelly. But yeah, so as you were talking right about turn 1, and I thought Gary was going to do it. Is it worth going for that move up the inside there when you might be better off actually backing off, going for a much wider entry and getting a much better exit and going for the overtake on the exit of the corner? A little bumpy.
Yeah, but it will help you through turn 2, 3 and 4 as well, because you will be switched back in, and then hopefully by turn 4, the short part of the track, you're able to switch back into that inside line and get the drive out the second part of it for the back end of the circuit.
Okay, so very busy down into 1, but actually not as busy as it could have been on the pack cam. SGP still all over the back of Steve F1. Conrad, who is closing in on them as well. As Bob having a look up the inside here, Connor, and who do you think is going to end up in the barrier?
Hopefully them, but judging by the line, Rich is a bit of a wobble there. But just on what you were saying before about Ray, about getting the run through turns 2 and 3, if you're in a Apple's just been punted on the pack cam there by Nelly. But going back to what we were on about with turn 1, if you're in a 3 or 4 car battle, you've got to, if you're going to take a wide entry and get an exit, you've got to hope that the car behind you's thinking the same thing and the car behind him's thinking the same thing, because otherwise, if you go, right, I'll back off and I'll get an exit, the other two might dive bomb you. Yeah. So it's sort of, you've got to have willing dance partners, so to say.
That's very, very true. Okay, Steve F1.
What was is that code?
Holy guacamole! Dip your bread and hope it's tasty. That got messy on the pack cam then. Go on, Ray.
I was just wondering if that was code, if he was asking me to dance.
Oh, no. I want to dance with somebody.
No way. Nah, you're all right. I'll end up pregnant.
That is very true. Either that or you just end up with a hole in the back of your pants. Okay, so I think we're on to the last lap. On to the last lap of the race. SGP putting the pressure on Steve F1. Conrad trying to SGP.
That's a corner cut.
Big time, yeah. What a
Oh, and he's punted Steve F1 as well. This is going to bring Conrad into it. So Conrad's going to get SGP here. And if this is the last lap, oh no, he will be forced to serve his penalty.
Yeah, if it's not in the... Rich has gone! If it's not in the penalty zone, it'll be a 1 second penalty at the end. It's making him serve it now. It was only a dip of the nose, but it's enough for Conrad to get through. And then we've got a lot going off on the pack cam still. Although they've actually got a bit more spread out. Okay, so this is it then. Final lap, final corner. Steve F1 went a little bit wide. So all you've got to do is hang on for this one corner. It's so easy to understeer wide in that corner though. But he is going to hold on for the victory ahead of Conrad. Third place for SGP. He'll be kicking himself for cutting the corner. Demon R in fourth. Art Pal in fifth at the moment on the pack cam. But a lot going on behind him still with Critical. He's actually had a decent result here if he can hold on. Twilight's trying, but he's not going to get him. No, he's not. Rich Blues. And then we're going to have Bob.
We've got Bob and Nelly, but also we've got 10 drivers as well.
Oh, yes. Gary.
Who's left?
It's Gary, yeah. You know what? I think it was Gary that was involved, was the victim of the big crash up at the chicane in the last couple of laps there. Maybe the frustration getting the better of Gary after that one. Which is a bit of a shame. I mean, on the plus side, he's not going to miss out on a pole position next week because it's not a reverse grid from this result. It will be a championship standings grid start for the next championship. For Steve F1 though, great win there. He started the race 9th and ended up in first by halfway through the first lap, and he's done quite well there. Conrad did well to get through and steal that second place. I do think though, maybe Ray, we commentators cursed everybody over last week by saying how well everybody's been doing. Or maybe it's just these cars on the short tracks where it's making it a very, very busy in the pack. And with the things like the understeer that we mentioned, there are those moments of cars coming together. But we did see, I don't know if, you may have noticed it as well, Connor, but we did seem to notice cars having big crashes here, and we've not been having that recently.
It's a lot tighter though, isn't it? There's cars seem to be trying dive bombs more because they maybe know they can get away with it more on the front wheel drive cars, you reckon, Ray? Or do you think it's just that close and everyone thinks, it's only 20 minutes rather than a 40-minute race, I've got to make a move now?
I think it's more of it's a 20-minute race, and when any other time we've done like 20-minute race, it's been like dirty championship, so maybe the brain hasn't just clicked in that it's a gold star. And yeah, well, like the drivers should, even though they're in the pack, I mean, no, the pack can be relentless, they should still be like using some common sense of, if I do this, it's going to give me an output of this, of maybe smacking somebody off. Maybe I shouldn't do that and just wait and go. And it takes them all to need to think that. And I'm not just saying it back, because you switch it round, it could be the front runners in the pack, and it could still be bumped their front runners, that the usual front runners, I should say, that are taking chances that of braking late that they would do up at the front, but not and they've not got the pack racing experience behind them as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, for drivers that are not used to driving in the pack, suddenly driving in the pack is a very different experience. I mean, it's a little bit like, I don't know if you know, but like in the Indy 500, in some of their practice sessions, they actually like agree, okay, we'll stay away from each other so people can practice their solo runs, but then they'll have a set time where they'll go, right, now we'll run close to each other so we can actually practice running in a pack of cars, because it is so different. But I know there was something that I was going to mention, which is obviously running front-wheel drive cars. I think it's actually the first time we've done a championship with strictly just front-wheel drive cars, and some people might not be used to it. But one of the things that I sort of think I noticed a bit was, with the front-wheel drive cars, quite often on the exit of a corner when you're wanting to get the power down, I think there's a higher chance of just starting to run a little bit wide and perhaps using all of the road. What drivers are going to have to be aware of, though, is whether there's a car next to them, because it's one of those things, if you're kind of nearly side by side on the way into a braking zone and on the way into a corner, chances are you might be side by side on the exit. And what I wouldn't want to see people doing in this championship is, when trying to get the power down on the exit of the corners and ending up running wide a little bit, that can happen, no problem. But it's the if, when that happens, there's a car next to them and they push them off the road, that's the bit I wouldn't want to see. Or at least if we were to see that, I would then want to see the driver going, okay, I've made an error, I've pushed them off, I need to do better, I'll wait for them and I'll improve. So yeah, I think there's going to be a few key factors in this championship that may become a bit repetitive about understeer, running wide mid-corner, on corner exit, and also, do you really want to go for a move that may be a bit late on the brakes in these cars? Because one, are you going to have the grip, and two, where are you going to go? I mean, that I think that is quite an interesting question, actually. Like, we talked a bit about turn one here. If there's two cars ahead of you battling side by side and you make it three wide quite late, where are you gonna go? And I think that's a fairly good question to ask, because chances are you're gonna end up going into the other two cars. You're gonna have to do something very special to make moves like that stick. Whereas, I mean, I know I did it in race one. Sorry to waffle on a bit here. I know I did it at race one here at Redbull, where I had a couple of cars three cars in front of me battling. So I did that drop back, used full width of the road, undercut all three of them, and overtook all three cars in one corner by doing nothing other than backing off. So it's a good question to ask yourselves. Where are you going to go? Is there anything else to add, boys?
Just because, like you were saying, in these cars you can brake late, but do it when you're sort of on your own, and you know, like a qualifying run, you'll brake late and you'll get away with it because you can just, in a front-wheel drive car, you trail brake, or you put all of the brake to the rear and sort of just, you know, get the back end to slide a bit as you step in. But when you're in a pack or you're battling with other cars, you can't really go, right, well, I can brake later than everybody else and expect the other three cars to sort of disappear. So I think, like, the Austria race, we noticed at the end, everybody sort of, right, okay, maybe if I settle down a bit and, you know, things happened more flowingly. However, Nurburgring was a bit sort of more chaotic. And I don't know if that's because there's a lot of corners at the Nurburgring where it's accelerator up, no heavy braking, whereas Austria's, there's not really any heavy braking points apart from
turn two, really.
Turn two's more of a hairpin, but then that sort of flows again, doesn't it? Because that sort of goes into the Essses and then you're away again. But Nurburgring's sort of first corner, you're slowing down for 2 and 3, then you slowing down for 4, and then you're nothing really till the end of the lap. Then you're into the chicane, then it's the last corner. So there's a lot of late braking chances if you're going to get a move done.
I mean, it's a very interesting one. I mean, you can maybe perhaps comment on this, Ray. That, as I said, as a driver, I love racing around the Nurburgring. As a steward, I hate it. Because we know with stewards, if we're racing at the Nurburgring, we're probably going to get quite a lot of reports. Because it's kind of an error-generating track, isn't it, Ray?
Yeah. It's, the wideness of the track, and then like the pinpoints of the corner, like Conrad said in the pinpoint of turn 1. There's pinpoints in turn 2, 3, 4, and it doesn't really back out until the back end of the circuit, and then it comes back in at the last corner. You can take different lines in there, and that's where the pinpoints come again. So it's just because of the wideness of the track, and then how many lines you can take through there. But drivers always need to remember, if they've got somebody beside them, they need to do on both parties need to do what they can to minimise the contact.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the things I think is always good to re-emphasise is in the Dynamic GT League, one of the main things we want people to do all the time is always give space to your opponent. That's the number one objective. Always give space to your opponent. If you do that, you will have amazing races. Amazing races. And you can do it with every single driver. And it's such a simple thing. I also think as well, I mean, we've talked before, if this sounds like we're bashing people, we're not. It's just a general conversation. We've talked before about how negativity can spread very quickly. So for example, if I go for a bit of a late braking move on Ray, bit of contact, I think it's okay, he doesn't think it's okay, and I'm just like, yeah, it's cool, and I drive off. Well, Ray then might think, well, that wasn't on, right, I'm going to fucking overtake you the way you've overtaken me, and might attempt the same thing and might even do it a bit better or a bit worse, might do it on someone else, and then that person, or for example, runs a bit wide on the exit of a corner, squeezes somebody off the track, doesn't wait. Well, that person that then is the victim goes, well, why should I wait if they're not fucking waiting for me? Now, admittedly, there is always that possibility that when you've been forced off wide on the exit of a corner, the other driver didn't realise. It's not the greatest of reasons, but it is always a possibility. But that negativity can spread very quickly. Whereas, when you see someone making an error and going, shit, sorry mate, I fucked up there, come on, I'll let you back through, now the victim is going to potentially be a little less likely to do something a bit rash, but also, if they do make a mistake, they're more inclined to go, shit, you know what, I've made a mistake there. Okay, I'll wait for you, mate. And then that person does the same. So it's one of those, positivity can spread just as quick. It's just easier to go negative. Excuse me, I tried to say hang on and I sneezed. Okay, now one of the reasons why I've sort of emphasised this conversation a little bit as well is because of where the next race is at. Now, do either of you remember? Ray won't, but do either of you remember where the next race is at?
I wasn't there on Monday, so I don't know who you were talking to.
You weren't there
Monday.
on fucking Thursday either, Ray.
Oh, I was there Monday, but I wasn't Thursday.
I wasn't there Monday. You were.
So it was last night you said that I was there Monday.
That's a good point. Yeah, I did say we was talking last night. Sorry. It was Monday night and we must have been talking, yeah. So we were there Monday, we weren't there Thursday, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's like, who the fuck is that? I wasn't there last night. you doing what the Open League guys do, and I say sorry, and they say it's no worries, SJP.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Connor got the track. Right, Ray, come on. Do you know what track it is next week?
Goodwood.
Oh, you
Fun.
heard him.
Yeah, I heard them.
You must have good wood to have many kids you have.
Lord, bloody hell, boom, boom, he'll fit in. Hang on a minute, hang on. Right.
Oh dear.
Now, obviously, I mentioned about Goodwood. We actually were reminded last night there is a fuzz zone at Goodwood.
Yep.
Yeah. Which means I'm going to have to do a bit of an explainer for the new guys, although we did kind of explain it to them. So, for anyone that doesn't know what a fuzz zone is, in the Dynamic GT League, it's a fuck-up zone, right? On a couple of tracks, it's literally only a couple of tracks, there is a sequence of corners where we know pretty much 100%, or at least 99.9%, if cars battle into those corners, there's going to be crashes, there's going to be carnage, and there's going to be loads of reports to deal with. So, we're taking a note out of the Aussie V8's rulebook, which is they have a couple of corners on a couple of tracks where you are not allowed to overtake. And by a certain point on the track, whoever is in front, it is their road, and you have to drop in behind. So we have one at Goodwood, and we have one at one of the Tokyo circuits. And it's for bloody good reason at Goodwood, and it is because you literally can't go side by side through the final chicane at Goodwood. Now, for the new drivers, we kind of said, yeah, go from the end of the curb, the exit curb from the previous corner, but we will do some images and clarify the point, because I think the point we used on GT Sport, I think the landscape has changed a bit.
Yeah.
So I will have a look at it, and we will pick a point that is clear as day for everybody. Now, something that did happen, because I'm trying to think, Bob I don't think has raced the fuzz, Nelly hasn't, and Critical hasn't. And Bob found himself last night, when we did a few laps there, car ahead of him went off wide and was slow, and Bob went, oh shit, I can't go past them, and slowed down. Was quickly told, oh no, in that scenario you're fine. So it is literally, as long as the car's on the road, yeah, you have to let them have the place. But if a car is off the track or crashing, you are allowed to overtake them. But if they have crashed, are back on the track and already up to speed, yeah, grey area, that one. But yeah, we'll go into that a bit more on its own little video. Although I might actually, for the sake of argument, go and see if we can find the old fuzz video and just share that with the new points and make things easier. Anything you two want to add on the fuzz?
Just on you go, sorry.
Yeah, it's just literally because in that chicane as well. It's literally two concrete walls, isn't it? It's not even a sausage curb or anything. It's literally two concrete walls.
Yeah. There's no room for error. This thing, you can go through their single file and you still end up with a pile. Go on, Ray.
Yeah, it's not just with the two or the couple of drivers crashing. Once that area's blocked, no car's getting through there, is it?
That is true.
And it's the same with Tokyo, with that part of the track's blocked with two people crashing. The ones at the back behind are going to crash right into them, and it blocks the road. So that's kind of the reason for it. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works on GT7. We can get the points, the actual point of where this is where it starts and then it ends, and go and see how everybody, because it's been a while since we've had the first one.
It has been, yeah. It really has. I can't remember what the track is after that, but I'm sure we'll find out.
Was it Brands Hatch Indy?
Oh, it is, I do remember SGP telling me, yeah, it is. It's Brands Hatch Indy. And that's going to be...
Who the fuck picked that?
I know. I would have picked a much longer track. But again, that's another track that it's not going to be easy to overtake on there. You might get some overtaking in turn 1 and up into the hairpin at Druids, but it's not going to be easy to overtake in the rest of that track. I mean, Goodwood as well is one of those circuits where, I tell you what, the person that wins at Goodwood will be the person who goes onto the grass the least, because it is one of those locations where you go on the grass a little bit, you're going to go on the grass a lot, and it takes an age to get back to the road. So you can be slow.
Somebody learnt that last night, didn't they, as well?
They did, yeah. They did. I don't know who that was. But yeah, so you could be slow and consistent and win the race there, that's for certain. Okay, anything else you two want to add before we wrap things up?
Yeah,
I think we've covered everything.
I went to
For me, anyway.
For you, yeah. Right, go on.
I went to Morrison's today and tried to get eggs, and there was none. And they said, I said, is there any eggs at the back? He goes, no, there's a shortage of eggs. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, all the roosters are identifying as hens at the moment.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, interesting enough, I watched a wrestling video where a guy was in the wrestling ring and a woman, a female wrestler, was in the ring giving him shit and slapping him and kicking him and slapping him, and the guy went to hit her, stopped and walked off. He reappeared a few moments later wearing a dress and a wig and kicked shit out of her. You know what, I have got
I think that was Santino Morella as well.
Okay, I've got a little story for you. So, it's alright.
Is it telling us this story?
Yeah, I was reading it and it's not that funny. I'll tell you though, because some people here like American football. So, a guy takes his girlfriend.
Soccer.
No, not soccer. American football. So a guy takes
rugby with helmets.
That's the one. Hang on a minute. A guy takes his girlfriend to her first American football game, and they had great seats right behind their team's bench. After the game, he asked her how she liked the experience, and she said, "Oh, I really liked it. Especially the tight pants and all the big muscles. But I just couldn't understand why they were killing each other over 25 cents. Bit confused, the guy says, "What the hell are you on about?" As she replied, "Well, they flipped a coin, one team got it, and then for the rest of the game, all they kept shouting was, 'Get the quarterback.'"
Yeah, sure.
Stick.
Yeah, not my best, but there we go. Right, okay, on that bombshell, we'll end here. Thank you, Rafe and Connor, for joining us on commentary.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having us, and thank you to the admins behind the scene, and also to the drivers for giving us some racing and some
Smash your bastard.
You kiss ass bastard.
what?
You kiss ass.
You kiss ass and bastard.
We can tell who doesn't watch all the race videos till the end. I say it in every bloody video.
I know we could just have you on record here. It's an audio one.
Yeah, but the first time I've been in the room to say it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
No, but it's great because it's nice to watch the drivers putting on a bit of a show and some argy-bargy and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, okay. Now what we're going to do is these two will disappear, and we are going to have a look, see if there has been any reports from either of the two races, and then we can confirm the results and any penalties that may or may not be applied. And then we're going to have a look at the confirmed championship standings, which will set the grid for race 3 next week at the Goodwood Circuit of Speed. It's going to be an interesting one. Okay, so let's get into the confirmed race results then. Now, before we do go into detail on the positioning and stuff like that, I do just want to quickly mention that there have been a couple of reports placed. I think 3 or 4 reports placed, and there is going to be some penalties handed out. From the admin's perspective, or the admin's view, there was a little bit too much contact during these 2 races. The first one, especially the first sort of 10 minutes or so, I know in commentary we've sort of talked a bit about different driving and different situations, stuff like that. That's all as sort of commentators. I do want to mention though to all the drivers that there was a bit too much contact. Now, some of it may have been caused by things like unexpected understeer in the car, which is completely understandable. You perhaps not used to the front wheel drive cars, you get a bit of understeer, you run wide, you knock somebody off the track. The issue is, in those situations, if you're not then waiting for the person, it's going to have a multiple knock-on effect in terms of it is going to frustrate the drivers that get knocked off the track, which could then lead them to start driving a little bit more aggressively and going down a route we don't want to go down. Now, it may be possible that some of the drivers haven't realised that they have knocked cars off the track. That too is also understandable, but does mean that you could still end up getting a penalty. And although at the time it may be easy enough for some of the drivers to say to each other, "Oh, you've just knocked me off there," if it's Twilight saying it, you never know if he's telling the truth or not. I don't mean that he's a liar, it's just he's a wind-up merchant. And a bit like Rich. I mean, obviously Rich was blaming me for all the incidents in the second race, I think it was, but he was doing it out of jest. He was taking the piss. It was a bit of fun, and some people might take a comment of, "Oh, you've just knocked me off the track," as taking it as a joke. So yeah, a bit of awareness needs to improve for all drivers as we go forward. But also, I am aware, for example, the image you've got on the screen, I know that Gary might be looking at this and going, "Bloody hell, what have I got a penalty for?" When I know that Gary has placed a report for the second race. So there may have been things that drivers have done that they haven't realised about. Now, we are going to be having a G-Spot video for all of these incidents. However, there is also other things that I'm going to be showing on the G-Spot. So, for example, we've had 2 races here where we've had a driver DNF. And as a commentator, we're wondering, oh, okay, what's happened there? What's caused that DNF? And as a spectator, I'm sure you might be thinking the same thing. So, on the G-Spot, one of the things it's there for is to be able to go and have a look at those things and go, right, okay, this is what happened, or at least be able to show what happened in certain situations. So what I would say is, for anyone that is receiving any penalties from either of these 2 races, as much as it may frustrate you that you may be getting a penalty, let's put it this way, I would say that, any penalties that have been given, it's because they need to be given and they should be given. And if on receipt of them you're thinking, well, I got smashed all over the place, that's what reporting incidents is for. If you feel you've been smashed all over the place, put a report in about it. That way, as stewards, we can have a look at it and we can deal with it and we can apply penalties where necessary. But it's not just about, oh, we're going to give people penalties. No, it's about bringing the situations to the attention of everybody so that everybody knows what happened and everybody can learn from it and improve from it. As an example, talked the other week about doing the deep dive on Conrad. If I hadn't have done the deep dive on Conrad, would Conrad's driving style have changed? Maybe, maybe not. But if things hadn't been brought to his attention for him to go, okay, other people are making mistakes, but what can I do to help me and help everybody else? and that's where putting reports in really does help. Okay, so a bit of a waffle there, but I think it's only fair to say those things. So let's get into the confirmed race result then for race 1. So Conrad takes the victory, maximum 20 points. Art Powell, great result for him in 2nd place. Steve F1 3rd with 15 points. Then we've got Demonar in 4th on 13 points. SGP in 5th on 12 points, and then in 6th place is Twilight on 11 points. 7th was Bob on 10. And then we've got Rich Blues in 8th place on 9 points. Nelly in 9th place on 8 points. And then in 10th place, is Gary with 7 points. However, he does then lose 3 of those points for a penalty. And we've got Critical with a DNF. Now, the incident that Gary has got the penalty for, information of that will be on the DGT League's Facebook page, the stewards report there. I haven't actually got it all available to me right now as I'm recording this to give you all of the information. Well, let's see, I can give as I said, at this point all of the information is out there, but let's sorry, I should have been a little bit better prepared here. Okay, so yes. Okay, so for Gary, his penalty was for lap 12, going into the penultimate corner. It's kind of gone for a little bit of a late move, but actually the entry isn't too bad. To a degree, it's one of those where it's like, okay, he's got there a bit late, but it could be okay. However, from the apex, Gary is then unable to leave space on the exit of the corner for the car he's overtaking. So basically, Gary has gone for an overtake a little bit later and not been able to give space to the car on the exit. He's gone all the way to the edge of the track, and in doing so has pushed the other car off the track, and that car has then lost 3 places in total. And that's why Gary has got a penalty for that. But I'll go through all of that on the G-Spot in much more detail, and we'll show the footage of it as well. And it's not to pick on Gary, it's to show everybody, so we can be as transparent as we can as to why any penalties may be given, but also so everybody can learn from it. As I said, that's one of the main features. Okay, right, let's have a look then at confirmation of race 2. So the Nurburgring race then, Steve F1 took the victory, maximum 20 points. Conrad 2nd place on 17 points, with SGP dropping to 3rd on 15 points. Demonar 4th place, 13 points for him. Art Pal in 5th place, 12 points for him. Critical in 6th place, scores 11 points, but unfortunately is in receipt of 2 penalties here, so minus 6 points in total. So then we've got Twilight in 7th place on 10 points, Rich Blues in 8th on 9, Bob in 9th on 8, Nelly in 10th on 7, and then Formula Gary, who did not finish. So as you can tell, as I mentioned, race 1, race 2, we've had a driver from each race that has not finished, both of them through frustrations of being hit, is the simplest way to put it. Okay, quick mention about the penalties to Critical. It is 2 separate incidents that have been reported, and both of them are to do with attempted overtakes. Again, I'll go through that in full detail on the G-Spot, but a lot of it, well, it basically comes down to attempting overtakes where it's resulted in too much contact and or forcing another car off the road, and then completing the overtake. Now, you may not have realised that there's been contact on the exits of corners, and again, this is why we like to be able to show it. And for anyone that's wondering why we don't show it on right now on the race videos, actually, is because I don't have the time to get all of the clips recorded, edited, commentated on, and added to the race videos in time for the race videos to come out on a Sunday. So yeah, it's simply down to time frame on that one. Also, sometimes the G spots can take a few days to come out, just because of how busy life can get. So again, I can understand that Critical may be a little bit frustrated that he has been in receipt of penalties in the second race when he has retired from the first race from being hit too much. But it's one of those situations where we talked about it being in commentary. When you are the victim of incidents, it's very easy to then become the perpetrator and get your elbows out a bit too much, and it can snowball. And yeah, it's one of those where, again, the penalties unfortunately are deserving, but for Critical, if his thought process on receiving the penalties is, well, I've been smashed about a lot, put the reporting on them. That's what it's for. It's to bring it to people's awareness that, okay, you've been too aggressive, you've made contact, you've put somebody off the track, you haven't waited for them, you may or may not have known, we're bringing it to your attention now, so let's improve. So a little bit too much contact going on in the first couple of races for the admin's liking, that's for certain. So let's see if we can calm it down a little bit, boys, going forward, because otherwise it's just going to get a bit frustrating for everybody. Okay, now there was another report placed, Gary Dean not finishing in this race. He has put a report in on that as well, but there's no penalty applied to that. In short, the person that made contact with him did wait with him, realised he'd made a mistake. They waited for Bob as well, who also was involved, also waited for Bob after Bob had been reset. So the person involved, yes, has made a mistake and messed up big time, but has realised it and done all the correct things to the driver should do in that situation. So letting everybody through, self-penalising themselves. Now, Gary may not be aware that that is what the person did, because he did retire from the race, but also he may have been too frustrated at the time not to care, but to really be aware of what had happened after the fact. Okay, so a few things to go through on the next G-spot then. Also a few things we're going to have a look at as well that have not been reported but we've seen on the race footage, and we might like to go and have an extra bit of a look at. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that's for certain. Right, well, one thing we can definitely say is it was still an action-packed couple of races. In the DGT League, it always is action-packed. Sometimes things can get a little bit bumpy, but it doesn't mean it can't be smoothed out going forwards. So for those of you that have been in receipt of penalties, I can just hope that you're able to see the reasons why those have been given, and those that may have been a little bit too much physical but haven't been reported are aware that, okay, yeah, we need to calm things down a bit. As we talked about on commentary, one of the main things we want in the DGT League is, at all times, to be giving space to your opponents, not squeezing them or giving them no space. Right, plenty of waffle from me, and I'm not even hungry. Let's then take a look at the standings. So Conrad, with a win in the second place, 37 points leading the championship, 2 points ahead of Steve F1, who's got a 6-point gap over Artpal. To be honest, an excellent start of the championship for the top two there. Artpal in a great position as well in third. A couple of points ahead of SGP in fourth place, who's one ahead of Demon R in fifth. Twilight in sixth place on 21 points, as 5 behind Demon R. He's got a 3-point gap over both Rich Blues and Bob, who are sitting in tied 7th. We then got 3 points back to Nelly in 9th place, and then we've got a bit of a gap, 10 points back to Critical in 10th place. The 6-point penalty costing him quite a bit. They would have been on 11 points, but yeah, is on 5, in 10th place. Formula Gary, 11th place, 4 points for him. And then obviously we had Jason, SRI, Jimmy all unable to race. Buntle and Fluffy still showing on the standings, because hopefully they may be returning at some point. They have hinted at it a few times. But if anybody is watching this and is interested in getting involved in the Dynamic GT League, what the bloody hell are you thinking? No, I generally do think it's a great way to get frustrated on a Thursday. But yeah, if you are interested in getting involved, then head over to the Dynamic GT League Facebook page and drop them a message saying you'd like to get involved. What you'll basically end up getting told is we would like you to do is join us for the practice sessions on a Monday. It is available for those people that are interested in getting involved in the DGT League. It's a way of us seeing if you've got a good enough connection, whether your driving is of a good enough standard, but also for us to get to know you to get to know us, and for you to learn the ways of the Dynamic GT League, because it is run in very different ways to what most leagues might be run as. So yeah, get involved in the Monday practices, and then if and when the time is right, the invite to be involved in the races could come your way. Now, if your internet connection is not good enough and you are quite badly lagging, unfortunately there's not going to be a seat available for you to do so. But yeah, if you are interested in getting involved, then first ask yourself, do you really want to? And then send the message anyway. Right, I think we're just about done there. Or at least now with this one. I can chill out and go and watch the Canadian Grand Prix and reminisce about the time when Jenson Button spent about 6 hours to win a race. And that'll never happen again in Formula 1, unfortunately, given their time restrictions now. Oh well, anyway. Right, thanks for watching, listening. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and yeah, let's see how it's going to go for race 3 and race 4, which has just reminded me I also need to sort of fuzz out. Okay, have a good one everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again soon.